Welcome to another episode of One on One with Mitch Lafon. Joining me this week from the Backyard Babies is Dregen. We talked their new album 4x4, which is by far one of the greatest albums of 2015, certainly top three for me. We also talk Kiss. Should they have continued past 1979? We'll see what Dregen has to say about that. And he announces the return of the Hellacopters. They will be playing a reunion show at Sweden Rock. We talk about that. Michael Monroe, Connie Bloom, the Electric Boys, Backyard Babies, and a lot more. So let's get right into this. Here is Dregen from the Backyard Babies. We are speaking with Dregen of the Backyard Babies. The new album is 4x4. It is, in my opinion, one of the three greatest albums of 2015. A must buy if you haven't already done so. Dregen, pleasure to have you.
Oh, well, thank you for your kind words on the album, and nice to be talking to you.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the song 13 or Nothing, I think the expression is more cowbell. That's always very important.
I know. It actually started out, as a joke from that sketch or whatever, but, I just heard myself actually leaning over our mixer guy and just, it needs more cowbell. And
Yep.
and it really did. And I think that's if we're talking mixing wise, I think that's my favorite mix of the album.
Yeah, it really is. And the funny thing is I bought the actual Japanese version, and it has a live version of 13 or Nothing as a bonus track. And there's not enough cowbell in the live version. I'm like, no, they didn't put enough. But there you go.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's actually from Download Festival in England this summer, so it's pretty.
Yeah.
It's only a few months old, so to say, but it was the first song of our set, so I guess that I need to have a talk with our sound guy about the cowbell situation.
Yeah, more of that. But it's a pleasure to have you back. I mean, the band hasn't released an album since 2008. You did well. I mean, you had the compilation, but in terms of new material, you walked away in 2010 for a few years. Let's start with that. Was it a vacation that just went on too long, or were you sort of fed up with the band and said, "All right, let's go to our own corners and come back when we're feeling it"?
Yeah, well, kind of. It was a half permanent vacation, I guess. But it was. I think that we felt already after, the album, self-titled album, Backyard Babies in 2008, that we were super tired already back then. And then, we celebrated 20 years as a band. So then we did a compilation box, kind of coffee table book.
Yeah, it's great.
Called Them 20 or Them XX. So, and then we tore that one, but then, we just agreed on that we need to have a break from each other. And we were just worn out because we've been constantly, Backyard Babies has always been a hard-working band on the road. We've never been a band that could, live and pay rent from our record sales, So we've been on the road for a long time. And then it was not that we were getting tired, but it was just we've been playing for such a long time together that it was hard to find, new ways of writing and stuff like that, And that's actually a thing that I think some musicians are, even if you write a great song and you have a band that's going to record the song or perform it live, that are tired and not up for actually doing the gig or whatever. And then you have a band doing the same song that's, super excited, and having fun. That version is going to be the best,
Right.
It's actually, very important to have fun in rock and roll.
Well, yeah, so, and in fact, I had read a couple of interviews or listened to a couple of interviews you had done then, and you had pretty much said that you were bored with it. I mean, maybe not those words, but it was sort of like, I'm a little bored of doing these songs. I need to go do something else. I mean, was that about right? Were you bored?
Yeah, but I was kind of not, but a little scared of myself because I couldn't really tell anymore if if the gig we did was great or if it totally sucked. You know, I was just a fucking machine, it felt like. You know, I was just doing the same thing every night, and I couldn't tell, you know, for some friends of mine came up and said that, well, you guys were great tonight. Oh, okay, thank you. And, you know, I couldn't really tell. And next night somebody said, well, you guys really sucked. And I thought it was the same every night, you know. So we said that, you know, let's have a break and get that spark back together. And I mean, with this album, we've never been writing an album so fast. We started writing songs in May, and the album was recorded, mixed, and finished in August. So yeah, we're having fun, and also, you know, we're ready to go. We leave on Wednesday for our first club tour in Europe for 4 years. So yeah, I'm super excited. It feels almost like we've soon been playing 27 years together, the same four guys. But wow, this feels kind of like I don't know, feels like a debut tour in a way.
Well, it does. It does seem reinvigorated. I mean, I don't want to say anything bad against the 2008 album, but this album just seems a lot fresher. It just seems a lot more energetic. I mean, the last album I had was great. Let's not kid ourselves. But this one just seems greater, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you. You know, and also I think that this break, you know, I can't really say, but then, you know, I explored my musical, you know, I did a solo album and I did, you know, I put a great band together, great musicians, and I was out touring. I did 3 years together with a great artist called Monroe, and I wrote and recorded an album called Horns and Halos. Great guys, you know, great musicians. So I think that you learn from playing with other people as well. And Nicke Borg, our singer, has done the same kind of thing, you know, with his solo albums. I think that, and then we take those new experiences, you know, and get that into Backyard Babies. And I think both of me and Nicke nowadays are better songwriters than we were in 2008. So yeah.
Yeah, so let's start talking about all of that, because there's a lot to go over. The solo album that came out in 2013. Was that just one of these that you had to get out of your system, or is this something that you want to do going forward, have a second, a third, a fourth, and have a solo career going alongside the Hellacopters and the Backyard Babies and everything else you do?
Yeah, you know, I didn't really know. I only knew that, you know, I've been thinking about the solo album actually the day when I had to choose between Backyard Babies and the Hellacopters. But, you know, I've never been in a rush with it. I only knew that one day I'm going to do it. But I was thinking more that I want to just release the solo album and that's it. But now I actually enjoy playing in bands and as a solo artist. So I think that there's going to be more solo albums as well coming out.
What would you do as a solo album that's, if another one comes out, let's say next year or in 2017, what would you do differently, or what can't you do in the Backyard Babies that you would do on a solo album?
Well, to go straight to the point, I think it's more songs like a song called Flat Tire on a Muddy Road, which is more, I always been listening to a lot of, you know, black music and old blues music and stuff like that. And I think that sound is not really for Backyard Babies. You know, it can be, but, you know, I think maybe a bit more in that direction. And of course, you know, I'm a guitarist. It's going to be more riffs, more guitar, more cowbell.
Right.
I don't know.
More Yngwie Malmsteen, right? Just get all those notes out.
Well, I don't know about that, but yeah.
Boy, there's just so much to ask. So let's just sort of go randomly. The Hellacopters are going to be playing Sweden Rock in 2016. It's sort of a reunion one-off. Tell me a little bit about putting that back together, and what does that mean for the future of the band? Does that band start up again with a new album and a whole touring cycle, or is that just really, we're going there in June, that's it, merci, bonsoir, thank you very much?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the plan. It's really hard for me to talk about because I did like the news came out, so to say, yesterday, but the news hasn't been with the band for such a long time either. We me and Nicke has been talking about putting the original Hellacopters together because we think it's a waste not to do it, because I still think that the original Hellacopters can still deliver that sound.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
There's a lot of bands you go and see, not mention any names, but like an old favorite of mine, like Kiss. Of course, you go see the Kiss. You enjoy it, of course, but it's never going to be like, God, I wish I was older. I want to see like Houston '78 or something. Like there's a lot of reunions when you walk out from the show and said, wow, he was great, but he was better before. But we're going to try to prove that that's not the case with the Hellacopters. So yeah, no, but it's been with the Backyard Babies. It's not that it's going to be 5 years break again, but I think everybody's satisfied that we have like Backyard Babies as some kind of a mothership, and then I can go out. I can do like a solo album and tour that with another band, and then we're always going to come back and do Backyard Babies stuff, and hopefully the same with the Hellacopters, because I know that Nicke as well loves the position to play with Imperial State Electric, which is his band nowadays. So maybe we can I would love, but I'm only talking for myself. I'm not talking for the band, the Hellacopters. But for me, it would be amazing to go out and do certain shows, because it's 20 years since Supershit to the Max came out, 2016. But we're only going to do one show in 2016.
Yeah,
but hey,
it's a start.
It's
a start.
But 2017 is 20 years since Paying the Dues came out.
Yeah,
so maybe we, yeah.
Yeah, I can see the marketing wheels going. Speaking of marketing wheels, the Backyard Babies, like you said, have been around over 20 years.
Yeah,
doing exceptionally well in Europe. I mean, you're on the club shows. You had the 20th anniversary compilation. You had all this stuff. North America, where I am, Montreal in particular, the band doesn't really get here. In fact, I don't think you've been here in fact, I think you've only been here once, quite frankly, but not a lot.
Yeah.
What is it about the North American market that just has been exceptionally difficult for you to penetrate?
I don't really know, but I think one thing is that we always been playing our music with like the middle finger in the air, and we have never been compromising with whatever record companies and stuff, and that's been working in like in Europe and Japan. But when we came to America and in Canada for the first time, I can't remember, it was like around '98. We did a few tours, and then I think the last tour we did was like 2007 or something.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, and it never really, I don't know. We never could have like a teamwork together with our record companies. They always wanted to, I don't know, try to polish the band or whatever, I think that they did a mistake, because I think the best thing would be just to let Backyard Babies be Backyard Babies and, cough up some money and let us go on tour.
Yeah, it's just strange because I see your solo album was on Universal. The new album that I have here from 4x4, which is from Japan, is on Victor. I think Victor is what is it?
JVC.
JVC.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got the support of major labels around the world, and then you say, "Hey, let's play New York," and they go, "Yeah, who are they?" And it's just mind-boggling to me that the success wasn't greater. But
Yeah.
Let's look at some of the other stuff you've done. You wrote a book a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
How was that experience for you, sitting down and actually looking back at your life and then having to make nice little stories out of them?
Well, yeah, it was kind of tough, It was, but fun at the same time. So I think it was kind of like, when I look back at it, it was almost. I mean, I haven't done so much like psychotherapy or therapy in general, but for me it was almost like seeing a shrink. We did it like me and the writer. We were seeing each other for like 4 hours, 3 days a week, for a year and a half. So it was kind of scary. He knew more about me than I did myself at the end. So, but it was good and nice, and it felt like almost like when you're doing the laundry and changing sheets in your bed or whatever. It's so it feels like a fresh new start. So I guess my next biography is going to come out when I'm 80. So
the next chapter.
Yeah, but it's also because it's been kind of blurry in my life. Like from when we started to tour hectic, I know where I've been most of the times, but I can't really say if that was in 2004 or '99. It's just like a big blur. But now when the guy that wrote the book with, in chronological order, he's been like, so it's kind of like it was good for me. It was like, I don't know, fixing up your hard drive in a way with my brain. I got everything together.
Was it cathartic in a sense where maybe some issues or some things that you had left unsettled in life, you look back at them and say, hey, that wasn't so bad, and you sort of can move on from the past, I guess?
Yeah, well, I mean, in general, the whole thing was, it was really tough when I did it, and I had really I felt bad like the week before it's going to come out. I'm like, oh my God, But when it came out, and I was honest, and I think it's a little bit, to talk about again European and American. I think that my autobiography has a lot of. I shouldn't say non-American, but a lot of those rock biographies is all, it's only like it's the good things, it's the cool stuff, like it's the But
and what I find also is that a lot of them, and I don't want to name names, but a lot of them are blaming everybody else for their mistakes. It's like, well, it wasn't my fault. It was Ace's fault. It wasn't my fault. And we didn't get that in your book, thank God.
No, and also it's a lot of like my terrible mistakes and really stupid mistakes. But I'm like, hey, I'm only human, and that's So I think it got both depth in hopefully people's gonna they're gonna cry reading the book, but hopefully they're gonna laugh their asses off as well. It's as life is. It's highs and lows.
Yeah, it really is. We mentioned Sweden rocks before, and the country itself does rock these days. I mean, a lot of bands. Europe is still going strong. Sabaton is still going strong. Backyard Babies, Opeth, Heat, the Poodles. I mean, Electric Boys, Connie Bloom. The list goes on and on and on. What is going on in Sweden that the scene is so vibrant? I mean, if I said Montreal or Canada and I say name a rock band, you go, okay, well, Rush is still in existence, but there's nothing new going on. And yet in Sweden, from Europe to Heat, there's young, old. What's going on in Sweden?
I don't know really, but I think that in general, Sweden as a country, it's not like, it was never strange for me in school to say like, hey, I'm going to be a rock star. Well, maybe not a rock star, but it's quite common that people are, want to be musicians here, and all the way from you start school and that's when you do they kind of like encourage you and help you out, and I guess that we have to actually thank good old ABBA for it as well,
Yeah, sure,
and also that we actually have like a lot of Swedish people moving to America, to Minnesota and stuff, back. So the English language has always been like our second language as well, and everybody that I know is grown up with the Beatles, Stones, Elvis, like any American, Canadian, or English, So I think that we it just comes kind of natural, and it might be weird, but there's a lot of 7-year-olds Swedes listening to John Lee Hooker right now, which is kind of weird, but good.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice to know that you've not gone all hip hop on us. So, and I can hear the kids in the background there.
Yeah.
You have an album back from
Mm-hmm.
when was it? When did it come out? Trying to think. 99, I guess. Super Shit 666 with Ginger of the
Oh, yeah.
Wild Hearts.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting album.
Yeah.
And of course, Ginger and stuff also did Michael Monroe and the Wild Hearts,
Mm-hmm.
another band that does great in Europe, not so
Mm-hmm.
great over here.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about that project and how you got involved and what it was like working with Ginger. And do you think we'll ever see a Super Shit 667?
Now, well, we've been talking about it, but Ginger is like, well, I think he's actually worse than me because he is just, he has tons of projects all the time, and writing and recording all the time, So we've been talking about it. It would be a lot of fun. But I actually have a Canadian story here because we just said that, let's put 1 week off and you, Ginger, come over to Stockholm. I just rent studio time at Sunlight Studios where we've been recording, Hellacopters albums, Backyard Babies albums, Entombed albums.
Nice.
You name it. With producer Thomas Skogsberg, and we said that, you're going to play the bass and Nicke Anderson from the Hellacopters is going to play drums. So he came over from Canada. That's why one song is actually called You Smell Canadian.
now,
because he was in Canada, I don't know in what town, but he was recording an album with, let me see, I don't know, he's called Devin Towns, Devin
Townsend.
Townsend.
Devin Townsend, yeah. Devin's out in Vancouver. Exceptionally nice guy, by the way. He played our local festival called Heavy Montreal, which has 45,000 people. A festival that I think
cool.
the Backyard Babies must play in 2016, and we'll do whatever we can to make it happen.
I can't wait to do it.
Yeah, so he was recording with Devin, and then he came and did something with you?
Yeah, came over, stayed in my flat, and we just, from day one, we just started to write songs. And, 2 days later, we were in the studio and recorded everything in like 1 or 2 days. It was very fastly done. So, yeah. That's it.
Will that come out as a Super Shit 666, or will that be something else?
Well, sorry, come again?
The songs you recorded with him, what will they come out as? Will they be...
No, it was Supershit 666, that EP that came out. It was like just a CD EP.
Right, from 99, okay.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And it came out also as a 10-inch vinyl, I think. 10-inch purple vinyl.
Okay. I thought you meant that you had just done this recently, where we're having new music coming out.
No.
Okay. Let's mention that you mentioned that Ginger has a lot of different projects, which he does. You've also had a lot of different projects. You've done the Hellacopters. You did stuff with Michael Monroe. You got the Backyard Babies. You did the solo album. Is that just a question of financial survival, or is it just you have such creativity that you have all these things? Because I'm sure a business manager would say, hey, look, pick one, let's focus on it, let's develop on it. So just explain what was going on with all that.
Well, I feel that, I hate actually, I say that I hate to work, but I think I'm lying because I love to work if I love my work, which I do with music. But I also think that I have some kind of a, what's the English word for it? But it's my fucking duty,
right?
to
rock.
to be, yeah, but not just to rock. It's just it's like a rock and roll recycled thing. When I was growing up, I had pictures of like Kiss, the Rolling Stones, Sex Pistols, The Clash, and all that. Like 99.9% was English or American or Canadian bands. But there was one band called Hanoi Rocks, and they were kind of like almost like a leading star for us. It was when we started Backyard Babies, we were always like, if they could make it, we can make it too. Yeah, because they were from Sweden and Finland. And then it all comes back. So it's kind of my duty to help Michael out as well, and just it's just so fun to play with all these, and he's an amazing human being, amazing person. Well, everybody in the band, but it just gives me, more gasoline to do, better stuff in the future. So yeah.
Yeah, I did an interview with Michael about 2 weeks ago. He was fantastic, absolute pleasure. His
Yeah.
new album was Blackout
Blackout
States.
Space, yeah.
Another one that goes on the
Yeah.
top 10 list of 2015. Before I get
Yeah.
back to Michael, because I know you've done some
Mm.
stuff with him. You've mentioned Kiss a couple of times, and I'm a
Mm.
huge Kiss fan. I mean, who isn't, right?
Yeah.
What do you make of Kiss these days? Do they still have it, or is it time for them to sort of pass the baton to the younger generation?
Well, I think that people are going to hate me now, but to be really honest, I think that, if Kiss would have split up 1979, well, actually 1978, between 73 and 78, they were the best band in the world. I mean,
Absolutely.
But then, well, then not so, and now it's more like, it's almost like, but I'd rather I'd rather follow, the Kiss soap opera than the Kardashians, but it's almost the same, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I don't really know. No, I don't think that they, I don't even go and see Kiss when they come to play Stockholm. That's how, I can't see Kiss without Ace Frehley. I'm sorry.
Well, listen, I'm going to agree with you on that. I would love to see them do one more thing with Ace Frehley. Keep Eric Singer; he's great, but yeah.
Yeah.
And as far as Tommy goes, I don't wish him any harm. If I had been in Tommy's position and Gene had called me and said join the band, you're bloody damn straight I would have gone and joined the band and put on the makeup and maybe you too. I don't know if you would have, but listen, Gene and Paul calls, you go.
I would have taken the job, but I would have demanded a new character.
Yeah,
that's what I think they should have done.
But and that said, on the internet, on YouTube and stuff, you can find clips on the reunion tour of Kiss in Stockholm in '96 and in Montreal. That '96 was a very good time for that band as well. But there you go.
Yeah.
Let's move on away from Kiss to Michael Monroe. Like we said, his new album Blackout States is great. You got a chance to play with him. Let's first start with that. What was it like to play with somebody who I gather was a hero, not just a rock guy or a friend, but a hero in a sense?
Yeah, well, actually, Backyard Babies, our first real support tour that we got was supporting a band that Sammy and Michael had like in 93, 94, called Demolition 23.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic album as well.
Yep.
And we got, to know the guys, and we said already, me and Sammy were sitting backstage in 1994 and said, hey, we got to play together one day. And then, and then we made it happen in 2011. So we always been keeping in contact and stuff like that. So we've been good friends and amazing, like I said, amazing persons and amazing musicians, and yeah, just a great rock and roll band.
When you decided that it was time to leave, was that difficult to tell Michael? And what led to the decision? Was it just, listen, I got to go do my own original music. I love your stuff, but I got to go be the Backyard Babies. I got to go be Dregen.
It was really hard. But on the other hand, I told Michael, straight up from the beginning that, that Backyard Babies is on hiatus and, and I'm working on a solo album. And I was trying to, as hard as, and then I became a father and so it's all good, but hey, maybe in the future I would, if the guys want to work with me, if there's time in the future, I'm totally up for it. So yes. I still consider myself as a Monroe.
Right. Right. Yeah. So it wasn't a bad split. And then I know we said 20 minutes. We're a little bit over, so we'll finish with this.
I actually need to go get my son.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I'll finish with this last question. Just when the Backyard Babies decided that it was time to do 4x4, what led to the decision to, let's get this back together. Now is the right time.
Well, I think just it's kind of like a thing that it's hard to explain, but you just have that kind of urge to play together again, and when you finger on your telephone or whatever, and you kind of like see Peter's name or whatever, and you want to make the guy call, I think that we telepathically felt that the time was right, and yeah. Actually, I think that we could have done it like a year before,
right.
But we were trying to stretch it a little bit more, just to be super excited.
Yeah, and musically, you certainly hit a home run. I mean, it is a stunning return to form. I mean, it's a fantastic album, just fantastic.
Thank you so much.
And on that, I know you have to get your son Dregen. Absolute pleasure. We certainly have to do this again at some point, and we do need to get you to North America and especially Montreal. It is time, overdue.
All right, thank you so much, Mitch.
Thank you.
All right. See you later.
Bye-bye now.
Okay.
Cheers.
Okay, bye-bye.
And there you have it, folks. My interview with the elusive Dregen of the Backyard Babies. Was trying to track down this interview for months and months and months. Very, very glad that I got it done. Again, their new album is 4x4. It is fantastic. Not even good. It is great. Good is an insult in this case. This album is really top 3 for me for 2015. Please check that out. Check me out over at Twitter at Mitch Lafon. You can find the one-on-one with Mitch Lafon Facebook page over there on Facebook. And well, there you go. I've said enough. Thank you, folks. Have a good one. See ya.